The salt spray stung my face, a familiar discomfort in this forsaken corner of Port Blossom. The wind, a relentless sculptor, had carved the cliffs into grotesque shapes, mirroring the jagged edges of my own broken life. Port Blossom wasn't a place for healing. It was a purgatory, a grey expanse of sea and sky where I, Jameson Jamie Reed, once a celebrated architect, had come to die slowly, one cheap whiskey at a time. My career, once a gleaming skyscraper reaching for the heavens, lay in ruins, a casualty of a scandal I still couldn't fully comprehend. My marriage, the cornerstone of my life, had crumbled, leaving behind a desolate landscape of regret and unspoken words. Finn, my 8-year-old son, was the only thing tethering me to the world, a fragile lifeline in this ocean of despair. He lived with his mother, Adriana, in the city, a world away from my self-imposed exile. Visits were infrequent, strained affairs punctuated by awkward silences and the unspoken weight of my failures. Adriana, bless her heart, tried to understand, to bridge the chasm that separated us. But the chasm was vast, a canyon carved by my own recklessness and the bitter sting of betrayal. The architect who once designed breathtaking structures, who understood the intricate balance of form and function, had failed spectacularly in the most important design of his life, his own. My antagonist, if you could call her that, was Joyce, a viper in designer clothes who'd slithered into my life and my firm, leaving a trail of destruction in her wake. Her machinations, her calculated betrayals had cost me everything. I'd tried to fight back, to expose her, but she was slick, elusive, a master of manipulation. The legal battles had drained me, leaving me bankrupt, emotionally hollowed out. Even Albert, my closest friend and confidant, had distanced himself, unable to bear witness to my slow self-destruction. Then came Finn's visit. He was small, a wisp of a boy with his mother's eyes and a stubborn set to his jaw that mirrored my own. We were building a sandcastle, a pathetic imitation of the grand structures I used to design, when he looked at me, his face streaked with sand and seawater, and said, "Daddy, you're a superhero even if you're sad." Those words, innocent and yet profoundly powerful, pierced through the fog of my despair. They weren't a reprieve, not exactly. They were a challenge, a call to arms. His belief in me, however naive, was a spark in the darkness, igniting, a flicker of hope that had long been extinguished. I wasn't finished. Not yet. Before we continue, don't forget to like this audio and subscribe to the channel by clicking the icon in the bottom right corner of your screen. And tell me in the comments, where are you listening from and what are you doing while listening? I love knowing who I'm sharing this moment with. Now let's continue with the story. The next morning, the hangover clung to me like a shroud, but Finn's words resonated, a persistent drumbeat in the quiet of my cottage. I stared out at the turbulent sea, the waves mirroring the turmoil within me. The cheap whiskey had offered only temporary oblivion. It hadn't solved anything. It had only deepened the despair. This time, I needed a different kind of solution, one that required more than just numbing the pain. I needed to fight back, not just for myself, but for Finn, for the chance to show him that his superhero wasn't broken beyond repair. My first step was simple, almost pathetically small. I cleaned the cottage. The mess had become a reflection of my inner chaos, a physical manifestation of my despair. I scrubbed the grime from the counters, swept the floors, and even managed to organize the overflowing bookshelf, a small victory in a war that seemed insurmountable. Then I ventured into town, a place I'd avoided like the plague. I bought a new notebook, a crisp, clean expanse of paper waiting to be filled with ideas, with plans. The architect in me, dormant for so long, began to stir. My initial designs were clumsy, hesitant sketches, a far cry from the confident strokes of my past. But with each line, with each carefully considered angle, I felt a sense of purpose returning, a slow, steady reclamation of myself. I started small, designing birdhouses, simple structures that required precision and attention to detail. Posted pictures of my work online, using a pseudonym anonymously at first. The positive feedback, the quiet appreciation, was a balm to my wounded ego. It reminded me of the joy I found in creation, the satisfaction of transforming an idea into a tangible reality. Slowly, tentatively, I began to reach out to old contacts, colleagues who had witnessed my fall from grace. Some were hesitant, wary of the man who had seemingly imploded. Others, however, remembered the talent, the passion, the dedication. One, a woman named Sarah, offered me a small project, a renovation of a dilapidated seaside cottage. It wasn't the grand commission I once craved, but it was a start, a chance to prove to myself and to the world that I was still capable of greatness. The renovation was challenging, demanding, but it was also exhilarating. I poured my energy into the project, working tirelessly, fueled by a renewed sense of purpose. The cottage, once a crumbling ruin, began to transform under my hands, a testament to my resilience, a symbol of my rebirth. As the project progressed, so did my confidence. I started to believe in myself again, to see the glimmer of the man I once was, the architect who had dared to dream big, who had built empires from the ground up. Meanwhile, my relationship with Finn began to heal. Our visits became less strained, more filled with laughter and shared activities. He loved helping me with my projects, his small hands diligently assisting with the more delicate tasks. He saw the change in me, the renewed fire in my eyes. He saw the superhero he'd always believed in, emerging from the ashes of despair. He even started calling me Super Daddy, a moniker that filled me with a warmth that no architectural award ever could. The legal battle with Joyce dragged on, a tedious, frustrating process. She continued her attempts to undermine me, to spread rumors and lies. But this time I was better prepared. I had the support of my newfound network of colleagues, friends who believed in my innocence and my talent. I had the unwavering belief of my son, his faith in me a constant source of strength. And most importantly, I had rediscovered my own self-worth. The final showdown came during a deposition. Joyce, arrogant and self-assured, attempted to discredit me with fabricated evidence. But I was ready. I presented my own evidence, meticulously gathered, meticulously documented. I exposed her lies, her manipulations, her calculated cruelty. The courtroom was silent as the truth unfolded, a stark contrast to the chaos she had created. In the end, Joyce was exposed, her reputation shattered, her career ruined. Justice, slow and agonizing, had finally been served. The victory was bittersweet. It didn't erase the pain of the past, the scars of betrayal and loss. But it gave me closure, a sense of peace that had eluded me for so long. I had fought back and I had won. More importantly, I had proven to myself and to Finn that even when life knocks you down, even when you feel like you've lost everything, you can rise again. You can rebuild. You can reclaim your life. The seaside cottage I renovated became my new studio, a space where I could create, where I could dream, where I could nurture my talent. I started taking on larger projects, slowly rebuilding my career brick by brick, design by design. My relationship with Adriana improved, although it would never be the same. We found a new equilibrium, a respect for each other's struggles and triumphs. And most importantly, my relationship with Finn blossomed, a testament to the enduring power of a father's love and a son's unwavering faith. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Finn sat beside me in my studio, his small hand resting on mine. He was older now, 10 years old, his eyes reflecting the wisdom that belied his age. He looked at the intricate model of a new skyscraper I was designing, a testament to my resurgence, a symbol of my triumph. He smiled, a knowing smile that spoke volumes. "You really are a superhero, Daddy," he said, his voice filled with pride. And in that moment, looking at my son, at the life I had painstakingly rebuilt, I knew he was right. I was a superhero, and I had finally saved myself. The warmth of his small hand in mine was a tangible reminder of how far I'd come. The studio, once a refuge from the storm, was now a vibrant space, filled with the comforting scent of fresh wood and the satisfying rustle of blueprints. Sunlight streamed through the large windows, illuminating the intricate model of the skyscraper, a gleaming testament to my resilience. It was more than just a building. It was a symbol of hope, a beacon of light in a life that had once been shrouded in darkness. Port Blossom, once a place of exile, had become my sanctuary, its rugged beauty a constant source of inspiration. The sea, once a mirror of my despair, now reflected the calm strength I'd found within myself. Adriana, too, had found a new path. She'd returned to her passion for painting, her canvases now bursting with vibrant colors, a stark contrast to the muted tones of her grief. We still had our disagreements, our moments of unspoken tension, but the chasm that had separated us had begun to narrow. We were learning to communicate again, to understand each other's needs and vulnerabilities. Our relationship wasn't perfect, but it was real, a testament to our shared history and the enduring bond between a mother and a father, even after the storm had passed. Albert, my old friend, cautiously re-entered my life. He had witnessed my descent into despair, and his initial hesitation was understandable, but he saw the change in me, the renewed strength and purpose. We didn't speak of the past, not explicitly, but our shared silences held a new understanding, a deeper connection, forged in the crucible of my struggles. He was there for me now, not as a judge but as a friend, a steadfast companion on this new leg of my journey. His presence was a quiet comfort, a gentle reminder that even in the darkest of times, true friendships endure. The support of these people, my son, my ex-wife, and my old friend, was the bedrock upon which I had rebuilt my life, a testament to the power of human connection and the resilience of the human spirit. The future stretched before me, not as a daunting expanse of uncertainty, but as a canvas waiting to be filled with new creations, new dreams, and new possibilities. But the canvas, while promising, wasn't without its shadows. The victory over. Joyce, while satisfying, hadn't erased the lingering effects of her actions. The scandal still cast a long shadow, a whisper in the industry that occasionally surfaced, a subtle reminder of my past failures. Some clients remained hesitant, their trust hard-won, their reservations palpable. The whispers weren't loud, but they were persistent, a low hum of doubt that occasionally threatened to undermine my newfound confidence. Securing new commissions became a constant battle, a test of my resilience, a reminder that the fight wasn't entirely over. Then there was the matter of my financial recovery. While the legal victory had brought some compensation, it wasn't enough to erase the debt accumulated during the tumultuous legal battles. The weight of financial insecurity pressed upon me, a constant reminder of the precariousness of my situation. Every new project, every successful commission felt like a step forward, but the path ahead remained long and uncertain. The fear of another setback, another fall from grace, lingered like a phantom pain, a constant threat to the fragile peace I had finally achieved. Furthermore, the relationship with Adriana, while improving, remained complex. The scars of our past, the bitterness of our separation, were slow to heal. There were moments of warmth and understanding, but also moments of friction, of unspoken resentments that surfaced unexpectedly. Navigating this new dynamic, balancing the needs of my son with the complexities of our co-parenting arrangement, proved to be a constant challenge, a delicate dance requiring patience, understanding, and a willingness to compromise. The road to reconciliation, I realized, was not a straight line, but a winding path filled with unexpected turns and unforeseen obstacles. The future, while promising, was far from certain, and the fight for stability, for happiness, was far from over. 1. Particularly harsh winter, a storm of a different kind descended upon Port Blossom. A major architectural firm, renowned for its innovative designs and aggressive business practices, announced plans to build a luxury resort on the outskirts of town. The project, while promising economic benefits for the town, threatened the delicate ecosystem of the coastline, a landscape I had come to cherish. The proposed development would encroach upon protected wetlands, potentially causing irreparable damage to the fragile environment. My initial reaction was visceral, a gut-wrenching sense of betrayal. The very landscape that had helped heal me, that had inspired my resurgence, was now under threat. The firm, spearheaded by a ruthless developer known for his disregard for environmental regulations was relentless in its pursuit of approval. They had the backing of the town council, swayed by promises of economic prosperity. The fight ahead seemed insurmountable, a David and Goliath battle where I, a single architect, still rebuilding his reputation, was pitted against a corporate giant. The weight of the responsibility felt immense, the potential consequences devastating. The quiet peace I had finally found was shattered, replaced by a familiar sense of urgency, a desperate need to act. This wasn't just about the environment. It was about protecting the soul of Port Blossom, the very essence of the place that had given me a second chance at life. The thought of allowing this development to proceed, of allowing this corporate behemoth to destroy the beauty that had healed me, was unbearable. I knew I had to fight, not just for the environment, but for the future of the town, for the well-being of the community that had unwittingly become my family. The battle lines were drawn, and the fight, I knew, would be long and arduous. The fragile peace I had built was once again threatened, and the shadow of doubt, the spectre of failure, loomed large. This was a new challenge, a test of my resilience on a far grander scale than anything I had faced before. My first move was to gather allies. I reached out to environmental groups, local activists, anyone who shared my concern for the delicate ecosystem of Port Blossom. Surprisingly, the response was immediate and enthusiastic. The community, initially swayed by the promises of economic growth, was now awakening to the potential devastation. They saw the threat, not just to the environment, but to the very character of their town. I found myself at the head of a growing movement, a coalition of concerned citizens united by a common cause. The support was a powerful antidote to the fear and doubt that had plagued me. The fight, however, was far from easy. The developer, a man named Thorne, was ruthless and well-connected. He employed a team of highly paid lobbyists and lawyers, wielding their influence to silence opposition and push the project through. He attempted to discredit me, spreading rumors about my past, trying to paint me as an unreliable, unstable figure. The whispers started again, louder this time, fueled by Thorne's well-funded smear campaign. The battle was waged not only in town halls and council meetings, but also in the court of public opinion, a battleground where truth often fell victim to well-funded propaganda. My team and I worked tirelessly, gathering evidence, presenting our case to the council, and appealing to the public's sense of responsibility. We organized protests, rallies, and community meetings, using every available avenue to voice our concerns. The fight was exhausting, emotionally draining, but the unwavering support of my allies, the shared determination to protect Port Blossom, kept me going. Finn, too, became involved, creating artwork for our protests, his innocent enthusiasm a potent symbol of our cause. His unwavering belief in me, in our cause, was a constant source of strength, a reminder of why I was fighting. The fight was far from over, but I was ready. I had faced worse, and I had won. This time it was not just about saving myself. It was about saving a community, a place, a way of life. The turning point came unexpectedly during a public hearing. Thorne, arrogant and condescending, presented his case with practiced ease, dismissing our concerns as the ramblings of environmental extremists. He underestimated the power of a united community. As he spoke, a wave of anger rippled through the audience, a palpable shift in the atmosphere. Then Finn, emboldened by the collective outrage, stood up. He was small, almost lost in the crowd, but his voice, clear and unwavering, cut through the tension. He spoke not of environmental impact statements or legal precedents, but of the beauty of Port Blossom, of the joy he found exploring the coastline, of the irreplaceable value of the natural world. His words, simple yet powerful, resonated with the audience, bypassing the rhetoric and speaking directly to the heart. Tears welled in the eyes of many, including mine. His innocent plea, his heartfelt defense of his beloved home, was far more persuasive than any legal argument. The room fell silent, the weight of his words hanging heavy in the air. Thorne, visibly shaken by Finn's unexpected intervention, attempted to regain control, but the momentum had shifted. The council members, initially swayed by Thorne's promises, now seemed hesitant, their expressions reflecting the impact of Finn's powerful testimony. The tide had turned. The community, galvanized by Finn's courage, became even more vocal in their opposition. The protests grew larger, the media attention intensified. Thorne's carefully constructed narrative began to crumble under the weight of public pressure. The fight was far from over, but the balance of power had irrevocably shifted. Finn, my small son, had become an unlikely hero, his innocent words wielding more power than any legal document or political maneuvering. His voice, clear and strong, had saved not just Port Blossom but also, in a way, my soul. Thorne, realizing the shift in public opinion, attempted a desperate maneuver. He offered concessions, promising to scale back the development to incorporate more environmentally friendly practices. It was a thinly veiled attempt to appease the community and salvage his project, but the damage was done, the trust was broken. The community, emboldened by their success, refused to compromise. They demanded a complete withdrawal of the project, a complete rejection of Thorne's destructive plans. The final showdown took place at a town council meeting, a tense, emotionally charged affair. The council chamber was packed, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Thorne, his arrogance replaced by a desperate plea for leniency, presented his revised proposal. But the community, united and unwavering, rejected his offer. They spoke of the irreplaceable value of their environment, of the long-term consequences of his actions. They spoke of Finn's words, of the power of a child's innocent plea. My own testimony, though carefully constructed and meticulously researched, paled in comparison to the raw emotion of the community's collective voice. I spoke of my personal journey, of my own redemption, of the healing power of nature. I spoke of the importance of protecting the environment, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. My words, infused with the collective strength of the community, resonated with a power I had never experienced before. In the end, the council voted overwhelmingly against the project. Thorne's empire, built on greed and disregard, crumbled before the unwavering strength of a community united by a common cause. The victory was ours. The battle was won. The fragile peace of Port Blossom and my own soul were safe. The celebration that followed was subdued, a quiet acknowledgement of the hard-fought victory. There was no triumphant parade, no boisterous cheering. Instead, there was a shared sense of relief, a quiet satisfaction in knowing that they had fought for what was right, and they had won. The community gathered by the sea, their faces reflecting a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. Finn, nestled between Adriana and me, looked up at me, his eyes shining with pride. He didn't need words. His smile said it all. The aftermath brought a wave of unexpected attention. The story of Port Blossom's victory against a corporate giant, fueled by the innocent plea of a child, spread rapidly through the media. My name, once associated with scandal and disgrace, was now linked with environmental activism and community resilience. Offers for new projects poured in, not just for architectural designs, but also for consulting work on environmentally conscious developments. My career, once in ruins, was reborn, not just as an architect but as a champion of sustainable practices. The experience had changed me profoundly. The fight against Thorne had strengthened my resolve, sharpened my focus, and reaffirmed my belief in the power of collective action. I had learned the importance of speaking up, of fighting for what you believe in, even when the odds seem insurmountable. The victory wasn't just about saving Port Blossom, it was about reclaiming my own sense of purpose, my own sense of self-worth. The man who had once been broken, who had retreated into self-imposed exile, was now standing tall, his spirit unbroken, his future bright. The quiet peace of Port Blossom was no longer fragile. It was strong, resilient, a testament to the power of community and the enduring strength of the human spirit. And at the heart of it all was Finn, my son, my unlikely hero, the one who had reminded me that even in the darkest of times, hope, like the tide, always returns. Years passed. Finn grew taller, his youthful idealism tempered by the realities of life, but his core values remained unchanged. He remained a constant source of inspiration, a reminder of the unwavering belief in the power of good, that had fueled our victory. Over Thorn, Adriana and I found a new rhythm in our relationship, a comfortable coexistence built on mutual respect and shared responsibility. The scars of the past remained, but they were less prominent, faded by the passage of time and the strength of our shared experiences. My career flourished. I became known not only for my architectural prowess, but also for my commitment to sustainable design and community engagement. I designed buildings that were not only aesthetically pleasing but also environmentally responsible, structures that integrated seamlessly with their surroundings, enhancing rather than detracting from the natural beauty of their locations. My work became a testament to my belief in the power of architecture to shape not just the physical landscape, but also the social and environmental fabric of a community. Port Blossom thrived. The threat from Thorn's development had galvanized the community, fostering a stronger sense of unity and shared purpose. The town became a model for sustainable living, attracting tourists and residents alike who were drawn to its unique blend of natural beauty and community spirit. The once isolated coastal town had blossomed, transformed by the collective will of its people and the unwavering spirit of a little boy who had dared to speak truth to power. The quiet peace I had found in Port Blossom wasn't just a personal sanctuary anymore. It was a shared legacy, a testament to the power of hope, resilience, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. And it all started with a simple sentence, whispered by my son on a wind-swept beach, "Daddy, you're a superhero even if you're sad." One day, years later, I received a letter. It was from Thorn, not a threatening letter, not a legal challenge, but an apology. He wrote of his regret, of the mistakes he had made, of the damage he had inflicted not only on Port Blossom but also on his own soul. He spoke of the profound impact of Finn's testimony, of the way it had shaken him to his core, forcing him to confront his own arrogance and greed. He had since dedicated himself to environmental conservation, using his considerable wealth and influence to support sustainable initiatives. His letter wasn't a request for forgiveness, but a confession, a recognition of the harm he had caused. It was a surprisingly humble and heartfelt expression of remorse. I read it slowly, feeling a complex mix of emotions. Anger, certainly, but also a sense of closure, a recognition that even the most hardened hearts could be changed, that even the most destructive forces could be redirected. I didn't respond immediately. I needed time to process his words, to reconcile the man who had nearly destroyed Port Blossom with the man who now sought redemption. Ultimately, I wrote back, my letter wasn't an acceptance of his apology, not a condoning of his past actions, but an acknowledgement of his transformation. I wrote of the resilience of Port Blossom, of the strength of the community, and of the enduring power of hope. I wrote of Finn and the enduring lesson of his innocent plea. I wrote of forgiveness not as a condoning of his actions, but as a recognition of the transformative power of remorse and the possibility of redemption. The letter, in its own way, marked the final chapter of that long and arduous battle, a testament to the enduring power of hope, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. The quiet peace of Port Blossom, once fragile, now stood firm, a beacon of hope, resilience, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Life in Port Blossom settled into a comfortable rhythm. The threat from Thorn was a distant memory, a cautionary tale whispered among the community. My work continued to flourish, each project a testament to my renewed purpose, a reflection of the lessons learned during the tumultuous battle for the preservation of Port Blossom. Finn excelled in school, his artistic talents blossoming, his inherent empathy and compassion guiding his choices. He remained a source of constant pride and inspiration, a reminder of the power of innocence and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. Adriana and I found a comfortable equilibrium, our relationship strengthened by the shared experience of overcoming adversity. We were not a traditional family, but we were a family nonetheless bound by the enduring bonds of love, respect, and shared history. We celebrated milestones, both big and small, finding joy in the simple pleasures of life, in the beauty of the landscape that surrounded us, in the warmth of our shared community. The quiet peace of Port Blossom was more than just an absence of conflict. It was a vibrant tapestry woven from the threads of resilience, unity, and hope. It was a testament to the power of collective action, to the transformative power of forgiveness, and to the enduring strength of the human spirit. It was a place where the echoes of the past served not as reminders of failure, but as lessons, learned as stepping stones on the path to a brighter future. And as I sat on my porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, I knew that the quiet peace of Port Blossom and the peace within my own soul was finally and truly secure. The superhero, once broken, was whole. One crisp autumn evening, Finn, now a young man, sat beside me on the porch, his gaze fixed on the ocean. The years had passed, leaving their mark, but the bond between us remained as strong as ever. He spoke of his future plans, of his desire to follow in my footsteps, not just as an architect but as a champion of sustainable design and community engagement. He spoke of his own dreams, of his desire to build a world where the needs of people and the planet were equally valued. His words filled me with a profound sense of pride and satisfaction. He wasn't just following in my footsteps, he was forging his own path, guided by the same values that had shaped my own journey. He had learned from my mistakes, from my struggles, and from my triumphs. He understood the importance of perseverance, of fighting for what you believe in, of never giving up hope. He carried within him the same resilience, the same unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit that had guided me through my darkest hours. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape, I placed my hand on his, a gesture of shared understanding, of shared experience. The quiet peace of Port Blossom, once a fragile sanctuary, now felt like an unshakable foundation, a testament to the enduring power of hope, resilience, and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. The battles fought, the victories won, the lessons learned, all of it had led to this moment, this quiet contentment, this profound sense of fulfillment. The superhero, once broken, was not just whole, he was complete. And in the quiet embrace of my son, I found a peace that transcended the simple serenity of a coastal town. It was the peace of a life lived fully, a life redeemed. The salt air carried the scent of the sea and the distant cries of gulls, a familiar symphony that had become the soundtrack of my redemption. The wind whispered through the tall grasses, a gentle reminder of the storms I had weathered, the battles I had fought, and the peace I had finally found. Looking out at the ocean, I saw not a symbol of my past despair, but a reflection of my newfound strength, a mirror reflecting the resilience of the human spirit. The years that followed were filled with the quiet joys of family, the satisfaction of a fulfilling career, and the enduring peace of a life lived with purpose. Finn's success in his chosen field brought me immense pride, not just as a father, but as a mentor, a guide, a friend. He had taken the lessons I had learned, the hard-won wisdom gleaned from my own struggles, and transformed them into his own unique path, his own unique contribution to the world. My relationship with Adriana evolved into a deep respect and affection, a testament to the enduring power of human connection. We remained separate, but our lives were intertwined, bound by the shared legacy of our son and the enduring memories of a life lived, a life overcome. The quiet peace of Port Blossom was not just a geographical location, it was a state of being, a testament to the power of hope, resilience, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. It was a place where the past served as a foundation for the future, where the scars of battle were transformed into symbols of strength, and where the quiet whispers of the sea carried the promise of a life lived fully, a life redeemed. And, as I sat there hand in hand with my son, I knew that my journey, my redemption, was complete.